Welcome to the My Favorite Things Feature Friday. Today I have a project to share with you using the Let's Toast Die-namics and stamp set. Up first, I want to show you how to cut a frame with the Die-namic stacks. For today's project, I'm using the Designer Label 1 STAX Die-namics. You can see first I've placed my paper down and I've placed the smaller of two Die-namics on the inside, then placed the larger one over it. It's important that the smaller one be on the inside. I'm going to run it through my die cutting system, and now you'll see it's cut both shapes at once, so when I remove them, I have die cut the larger shape with the smaller shape punched out. Now I'm going to recut just the larger of the two shapes with the piece of ivory cardstock. I'll layer the frame over the ivory one for an interesting detail. I've pre-cut and pre-stamped all the elements for today's project. I've pulled out my designer label stack again, and I've used it to cut just the bottom edge of this diamond pattern paper. It fills up the bottom part of the sentiment panel. This is the Let's Toast Die-namics, and you'll see this tiny little die is included, and it makes a great little charm. I've stamped the outside border as well as Let's Toast. And of course I've reached for my fishtail flags Die-namics again. I love these. I find an excuse to use them on almost everything. Today I've used them to cut two thin flags to use as embellishment, just using some pattern paper scraps. I'm going to add some detail with the Die-namics Fringed Perennial. This is one of our cupped style flowers, and I wanted to show you how those go together. I've cut two of the smaller petals and two of the larger petals. I've heated up my glue gun, and what you'll do on each of the little blooms, you will see there is a small triangular notch, and I will add just the tiniest bit of glue to that tiny notch, and then I will join the two pieces together. Now what I like to do is roll the petal over my finger just for a more realistic looking molded flower. And I'll repeat the process with each of the four pieces, adding just a little bit of glue to that tiny notch, and then closing it up and molding each of the petals. Now that I have those four sections done, I'm going to group them, and I'm going to do two and two. I'm going to put the two largest together by putting just a little bit of glue in the center and layering the next set of petals on top of them so that the mountains and the valleys overlap. And I'll just press them together gently, remold the edges for a more realistic look. And there's the back layer of my flower. I'll repeat the process with a smaller set of petals, adding just a little bit of glue to the center, adding the second set of petals so that they are opposing each other, press into the center, and then just roll those edges again. Now, finally, the last step is to take the back set of petals, add a little bit of glue to the center, and put the smaller set of petals right in the middle. Easy peasy, and now you have a perfectly coordinated flower petal to go with whatever pattern paper you are already working with. Now we're going to add some realistic detail with the Die-namics Royal Leaves. This is a set of 5 leaves graduated in size with realistic edges as well as some amazing embossed detail. My quick tip for you today is that if you ever get a Die-namic that is stuck inside your die, I just use a piece of Scotch tape. Apply it lightly on the back and pull. Pulls it out without any special equipment, no damage to your die or to the actual die cut. Easy peasy. I've decided that the two largest leaves in the Royal Leaves Die-namics are going to be the right size for today's project. And I'm just going to add a little bit of something extra by using my Ranger Distress inks and my ink blending tool to just fuss up the edges a little bit. Now that they're all inked up, just the tiniest bit of hot glue on the back of my bloom is going to secure the petals to the leaves. I just roll them around the tip of my finger for a little bit of added dimension. Now that I have that second one in place, I can just add just the tiniest bit of glue in place. Right now the center of my flower is empty. but this dynamic comes with 3 little fillers for the center. I've cut them out of little pattern paper, and now I use my finger to lightly ruffle up the edges. It makes a small, almost little cup shape when you push them all forward. There's 3 tiny circles, and I'm going to repeat the process, ruffling up each of the edges and forming them into a little tiny cup. Then finally you will nest those little cups, the smallest on the inside, then the medium, then the largest around the edge, and then apply the cluster right to the center of the flower. It's a gorgeous, realistic detail for your flower centers. Finally, all the little parts and pieces are done. Let's put them together and finish up this project. Thanks so much for visiting us today. Please join us at mftstamps.com.